Hey everybody, welcome to the DawgHouse NTN radio. What do we go to call this, Ken? I guess
racing segment.
It's our racing segment.
Our racing segment.
We're actually going to do the racing in 2 segments this week. Normally you'd be brought in by our hostess with the mostest, Emma, but she is down letting the guys of Florida gaze upon her in a bikini.
Spring break.
Right. Yeah, but we won't. It won't always be 2. It's going to depend on what went on that weekend.
Yeah, it's going to depend on what went on this weekend. This weekend it will be 2. It'll be a Supercross one, and then we're going to do the MotoGP wrap-up, or our thoughts and discussions on it, as a separate video. So we are going to do 2, so please watch them both. We would really appreciate that.
And while you're at it, there's also going to be our Supercross and MotoGP World Superbike Power Rankings.
Power Rankings.
Right?
We'll have to make a sound effect for Warren for that. Power Rankings.
Power Rankings.
Power
Rankings.
Power Rankings.
No, we'll do it with the echo stuff and everything.
Power.
Ken's having an off day, as you can tell, because he has a hole in his pants and he keeps sticking his finger through it.
I have a hole in my pants.
He's been
I don't know where it came
and
from.
And every time he sticks his finger through it, he smiles. So I worry about that.
He's enjoying it way too much.
See, look at him. He's like, woo!
Way too much enjoyment.
I am. You know, but it's not as much fun putting my finger in there as it was last week.
Never mind.
Whoa, I don't want to know what guy had his finger in your pants last week.
Oh, yeah.
This past weekend, though, Supercross was in San Luis. Or St. Louis for us Americans. For the final East segment of the tour until they go to New Jersey at the end of the season. So this is it for the East boys in the 250 class. We're going to go back to the 250 West next week. Not next week, I'm sorry. Next week is Easter, and they're not at racing. In 2 weeks, they'll be back in Houston.
What are we going to talk about next week?
We're probably going to talk about the Easter Bunny.
Okay.
Peter Cottontail.
The hare and the tortoise race.
Peeps. All these things I can't eat. Why don't we talk about the Easter Bunny Power Rankings next week?
We will do. I'll tell you what. Next week's video will be Easter candy Power Rankings.
Oh God,
that would be a solid
eat that
video.
Either. But anyway, okay.
So anyways, we had the East, and you know, if Honda's not doubling, KTM is. And Marvin Musquin went out and said, I don't like the Hondas winning both races. And he went out there on his little KTM and he stomped a mud hole in the field and walked it dry.
Yeah.
Which
he had to, because apparently there's a pact in there that Ryan Dungey expects him to win. You better win.
Ryan Dungey walked over to Marvin Musquin before it and said, you need to win.
Yeah. Don't lose this race because
I want to win mine.
I want to win mine.
Right, you know, so Marvin Musquin won that. He's having a bang up season. You know, we'll talk about him in the power rankings. He does make the list. He's definitely having a good season. Jeremy Martin had another run, and Joey Savacci. I'm beginning to like that kid. You know, he
didn't do bad at all.
Yeah, he's been consistent. Justin Bogle fell all the way to 4th.
Yeah. Which
kind of surprised me. I was kind of expecting him to be maybe 2nd or 3rd. He just didn't get off right, you know, off the line good and stuff. So that never helps. But
he got caught up in that first turn,
his
whole shot mashup they had.
Yeah. And that happens a lot in 250s. You see a lot more wrecks in the whole shot than you do in 450s, and you got caught. And if you're not in a good position going into turn 1, you're just screwed.
Not much you can do about it.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. So you know, I mean, that's a pretty good. Musquin increased his lead over Bogle. You know, so it's now starting to look like, you know, they're going to have the one more race to decide.
Yeah, it's pretty much done.
So it's pretty much done. It's a 20-point difference.
So unless Musquin crashes out, and even if he does that,
if he crashes out,
he could lose.
Bogle has to win.
Yeah, Bogle has to win, and he had. I mean, it's possible you could have a tie.
Yeah,
it's possible you could have a tie because Bogle could get 20 points and Musquin get none, and you could have a tie. It's feasible. But the way this season's gone so far, I would not expect Musquin not to score at least 3rd place points.
Right, and that's 3rd place wraps it up.
Right,
I think it's like anything.
Well, anything more than 5 points.
Pretty much wraps it up.
Anything more than 5 points, so he can finish pretty far down the list. Still,
yeah. So he's pretty good to go on that. You know, and I don't think through the field this is competitive in the East as it is in the West. But I think the top guys in the East are pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean,
yes. I think you get below 4th, 5th, it kind of falls off.
Oh, it falls off dramatically. I think actually, if you get, I actually, and make sure you watch our power rankings video about this. I actually had I think I had 3 of the 5 from the East in mind.
So did I actually.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think that actually, in many ways, that the East is more competitive than the West.
Yeah, I think the West is deeper, I guess is the word. I think there's 3. There's in the East. I think there's only 3 people who can win a race. In the West, I feel like there's more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the 250s ends up, you know, and we'll see. They'll go back to New Jersey, and we'll get a good ending.
Hopefully, they won't. I mean, well,
it's more interesting to see what happens, in my opinion, when the East and the West guys battle each other in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's going to be excellent.
Right.
Then we had the 450s, and if you hear that Musquin won the 250s, you know who won the 450s.
Yeah, it's automatic.
It's Ryan Dungey. It's automatic.
I think the rest of the field expects it now. I think if Musquin wins the 250 race, that when the 450 race happens, that the rest of the field figures we're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, now with Kernard out, Reed's not doing all that well.
No, Reed's not doing that well.
Kernard wasn't.
But the thing about it is,
Kernard, but it's so hard to.
Well, and in my opinion, right now as things stand, the main competition for Dungey is Tomac. It's not.
No. The only competition for Dungey is Dungey himself.
Well, at this,
he has to do.
I don't know. Last week, Tomac went out there and stumped a mud hole in him.
Yeah, and Bogle's
he's so far behind in points, he's not going to catch him unless Dungey doesn't do. Screws himself over.
What has Dungey got? 45 points now or something?
No, it's
80 now. So it's done.
It's done.
It's already done.
That's over. That's over and done with. But even just for a win, I think I've given up a little bit on Sealy. Weston Pike, I really like that kid, but I think he needs to work on his physical endurance.
And some of the broadcast guys actually even mentioned that. Said that he's very strong in the first half of the race and weak in the second.
And we've said that for a few weeks.
They even talked about his pre-race regimen where he has that guru kind of guy comes in there and gives him a rub down and smacked his hands and stuff.
Yeah, that never works.
I'm not all about guys rubbing other guys, so I'm kind of, now if he said Diana Dahlgren came in and gave him a rub down before the race,
but
I'd say, you know what, 4th place is fine with me, bud.
Yeah, they say, how boxers are, they actually have to abstain the night before a match.
Yeah.
Because, it's true, though. It is absolutely
That's
true.
why I'm not a pro athlete.
It's like you want to be edge. You want an edge, Phil. You want an edge.
Yeah, I don't need that much of an edge. That's dangerous.
Apparently, he needs an edge, but it comes from a guy.
Yeah, I guess so. Reed has settled back down in 8th place after a couple weeks of doing well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to think of Reed.
No, Reed's been having a lot of problems. He's been making more mistakes.
Yeah.
But, remember, Reed's never been a top Supercross guy. He's a top motocross guy.
Yeah.
And he will win races in Supercross, and but he will be much less consistent. He's an outdoors guy.
I think he should be pretty strong if he stays healthy for motocross.
I don't know. He seems to me he's having a bit of a roller coaster year. So I cannot say that I would pick him going into motocross having a good season. I don't know what he's got to give this year.
And I've here's 2 names that we haven't mentioned in forever. For good reason, is Brock Tickle and Blake Baggett.
Yeah,
I was expecting a lot more from those guys this year.
2 skilled guys who just seem like they're having a mediocre season.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of shocked. And I don't know whether it's the top guys are doing so much better or they're just, I don't know.
For a lot of riders, and Tomac's even one of them, it's been a bit of an up and down season. There's only been one person
who's been consistent.
And that's the Diesel. The Diesel has been consistent.
Yeah. I'm not sure I like the nickname the Diesel for him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because to me, a Diesel's something big and strong, powers you out of the way. He's more like a robot. He's a machine. He hits his marks every corner, every time, every lap. He to me, he's a.
But you know what? Here's the difference. Here's the difference, I think, with him. And I think it's got a lot to do with the KTM and that team. I think that one of the things that I always noticed about him, going back to when he won the championship, was that he's not been very aggressive since then.
No.
He's not been very aggressive. And the first time I've seen him be aggressive is when he's gotten on that KTM. So he likes it on that team, and he likes this
bike now. They took him a few weeks to get it dialed in.
He was pretty aggressive this last race too.
Well, this season he's aggressive. He has had a lot of. He's settled. Ryan Dungey has settled. When Villopoto was there, Ryan settled. He settled for top fives.
Right.
You know, and now he seems like he's
like, I want to win.
I think he's been rejuvenated by the KTM team.
I think so, and I'm happy. He's a hell of a racer.
Yeah, and I think he needs he doesn't want to be outdone by the French guy. So.
Well, I can't blame him.
Every time the French guy wins, he wins. So.
Nobody wants to lose to the French.
Right.
But so they have the weekend off for Easter. I'm sure they're going to go spend time with their families and eat peeps and stuff like that. And they will be in Houston when they return in 2 weeks, which should be a pretty good race. And the rumor mill has it that possibly Ken Roczen will be returning.
Yeah, I tell you what. Well, I'm glad that that's in the rumor mill because they pretty much he's so gone so far off this radar that nobody talks about him during the show anymore. You notice that?
Yeah. So I mean, and even his Twitter and stuff has been way less on the posting and stuff like that than I was expecting. I did see a post about Adam Cianciarola, who would have been my pick to move up to Kawasaki this year, but he got hurt. I did see a post that he's back to riding now, so hopefully he'll be back soon.
Oh, maybe he'll be, when the outdoor season kicks
off
this
summer. That's what
I'm
hoping for, because that kid's a hell of a racer. Right. I think he's got a lot of talent. I guess that about wraps it up for our Supercross. We're going to do our power rankings on another video. That way you can share that around with all your friends and stuff, and if you got any Supercross pools.
Tell us how good or how bad we're doing.
And comment. Please feel free to comment on our videos. We want to interact with the people out there. Let us know if you disagree with our power rankings or you think somebody else we missed in the power rankings. Let us know. And if you disagree with anything said in this video,
it's not the case, but just if you do decide we're wrong,
or if you just like to argue, we do love to argue.
We do love to argue.
So that's it for Supercross for this week. And like I said, we're going to have a MotoGP wrap up video coming up too.
Yes, stay tuned.